Hello and welcome. In today's video we will be making a basic submarine. Yes, a submarine. Okay, let's jump into the water. This is the challenges map. So I thought some change of scenery would be nice for a long form video. Alright, let's get started. You will need a lot of the I could say you would need a lot of the what's that called? The DLCs. You would need a lot of those for the submarine. I won't say it's necessary, but I'd say it's pretty good to have these. If you were wondering what I was doing earlier, I was trying to do shift and middle click, which is for Fusion 360, which I was working on for a bit, and I'm still doing it. I'm still clicking. Okay, so for a basic submarine, you would need to start off with either one of these three options, which are submersible seats: the spaceship cockpit, the diving bell, or the submarine seat. All of these are considered underwater seats, and you would need an underwater seat for the ability to be underwater. So as you can see, all of these are the same size, so it doesn't really matter, but matter unless it's like for aesthetics. As you can see, they also have different contact points. This one right here, the submarine seat, has the most contacts, but is a different shape than all these other two. The diving bell is the ugliest out of all of them, but makes sense for a lot of more round shaped builds. So I will be going with the spaceship cockpit, since that one is not included in the DLC, but I will also be changing a couple of the stuff here later. I'm not very informed on what is DLC and what is not, but hopefully that shouldn't affect anything. Okay, so now let's get started with the build. A submarine is basically just an underwater plane. So what you would need is a basic plane shape. It doesn't need to be super big or super small, it just needs to be able to function. And it also needs to be centered from the X and the Y axis. Depending on whichever one is the X or Y axis. I would need to check that. But for here, it should be X, or X, Y, and then Z, but that is very unnecessary for today's topic. So we will just need a couple of these, which will make an elongated shape. Now, for aesthetics and details, yes, we can add corner shapes if we wanted to, but we're not going to do that until later. So now we got a basic fish. Or stick, whatever you want to call this thing. You could either, if you're a very, very beginner, you can do gyros. But if you want to try yourself and be a little stiffer on what you try to do, you can try aerodynamics, which is something that does work underwater. Like, for example, you can do the modern stabilizer. That's big. You can try some of these fins. They're all pretty big, but you can also use the flap wings. The ones that you can use are the ones that have flaps on them. You have to change the controls, but unless you want to have more effort for yourself, you can also try using servos, or these control surfaces, if you want to be with the flap wings. though it doesn't really matter unless you're going for a specific aesthetic. Like I said, it's a plane in water, so if you know how to build a plane, it's pretty easy to do it. Do one for submarine. Okay, now as you can see, we just sink into the water, kind of like a arrow, which is a good thing for what we're trying to do right now. It's decently nice. I'll change the shape of this for now, because I actually want to do something else with this. We'll slim this down, because we want to add buoyancy. So we need to go to the marine section and get ourselves some buoyancy blocks. Now you need to make sure that for this specific project that you'll be using buoyancy blocks. These are the only adjustable water block that I know of, or buoyancy block that I know of that's available inside of water. So you'll be needing this a lot. Stack it up like this, and you'll have some buoyancy blocks. Now, as of right now, it is pretty uneven, with all the weight being at the front. And so it shall be like this. As you can see, you go to settings, and then do forces. You will need this a lot. You can also do aerodynamics if you like, but that's not as important underwater. Even though, I mean, if you're trying to go for speed, then yes, it is very important. If you don't like the way I'm speaking right now, it's something I've learned at school, because we do project-based at school. So, I need to do presentations. If you like the way I'm speaking, comment a thumbs up or something. If you don't like the way I'm speaking right now, if you want me to revert back to the tone I was before, you can do a dislike. And then comment why, so I can learn. Thank you. Now we need to move the forces, the mass force right here, which is pointing downwards. We should now move, let's see, where's the weight? We can move the weight backwards using a weight block. This should help even out our weight. Now, as you can see, it is a little bit more centered. And now it is completely centered. I would need to count blocks, but I'm pretty sure that's pretty centered. No, it is not. So let's fix that. And now it is pretty centered. As you can see, it works pretty well, it's floating pretty nice, and it has no problems. Because we're trying to make this thing as balanced as we can. Keeping all the weight in the center, and hopefully not making it hard for this thing to actually be able to do submarine things. Now we're going to move on to actually making this thing move. First, we're going to either need, well, there's a couple things that you would need to do. Number one, use gyros. Gyros are for either heavily aesthetic builds or just very basic builds where you don't want to use fins or be very realistic. So it'll cause a lot of easy stuff. Like, for example, this is technically a old-timey gyro. So you'll be able to do tricks like this. Technically, that's not really a trick, but you know what I mean. But if you want to be sophisticated, you can also try using fins. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and use the aileron. It's not very good looking, but we'll fix that in a minute. These ailerons should help us go side to side, and also front and back when we attach the elevator tail. No attachments. That's cool. Yes, this block. That's what I was looking for. This will be our up and down wings, and this one will be our roll call. Now we need to move on to movement, where our water propellers will help us do a lot of work. Within the recent updates, there is the large ship screw, the small ship screw, and the outboard engine. Well, the outboard engine was pretty long ago during the high seas update. The underwater propeller was not within my specialty, so if you'd ask me where that was, when that was, I have no clue. So we can place this almost anywhere, though you want it to be a pulling force. Either a pulling force or a pushing force. I recommend for newbies a pulling force, as it will make it easier to understand where you're trying to go. I'm pretty sure I phrased that wrong. But you don't want it to be uneven, pretty much. Because, like, if you're pushing all the way from the back, then if you have some weird aerodynamics, such as drag, it will push you downwards or push you upwards based on whatever happens. So a pulling force is much more guaranteed. As you can see, we got a submarine with ailerons and such, and buoyancy. Now let's go into the water. Look at this! Yay! It has no turning motion. It only has roll, but that's fine. As you can see, it has a tilt force that wants to go up really bad. So what we can do to change that is we go back here to the ailerons. And oh. Well, how about we go up here? We can push this back one bit, because you'll need to grab a distance sensor. Now, this isn't needed. You could have done this any other way, but I like doing it this specific way. I'm saying things weird. My bad. You can set this distance to max, and to only detect blocks. Because we'll be attaching this to the elevator tail, and it'll be output of, let's see, 0.03. No, 6. 5. That didn't do anything. How about 0.5? 0.5. There we go. Okay, so when I turn down the buoyancy on this thing, it should hopefully allow me to work on this thing. Now let's see if it's actually straight now. Okay, now that's way too much. So we need to turn down the setting. Let's 0.2. That is much less. And that should be able to give us a nicer, straighter trajectory. No, that didn't help. Cool. 0.1. How about that? Oops, right, we need to turn down that. We have a much straighter trajectory, and we don't have to change the... We don't have to do much adjustment afterwards. So this is a pretty good submarine. I wouldn't count this as amazing, but it works without the need of gyros and such. Now, for specific buoyancy, you also wouldn't want this to be sinking all the time. So, let's remove this. Let's remove the buoyancy devices for now, because we will need to account for them later. But we're going to try to balance this thing. It shouldn't be lighter nor heavier than water right now. Actually, I think it's a better idea to put that back on. Now, we're going to grab some weight blocks. Actually, yeah, we're going to do some decoration first, because I think that's a better idea than doing whatever we're trying to do right now. I wanted to put that there. Okay, whatever. That's not important. So we're going to do some decoration, and we're going to try to make this thing round. We'll also be moving this a bit, which will also be changing our trajectory once more. So we'll need to tune this once more again. But all we really need to focus on right now is our decoration. As you can see, our decoration is pretty empty right now. So we're going to have to grab some of these blocks to help our decoration look much better. Like for example, you could go for one of these, a rounded 2x4, or you could go for a rounded wedge 2x4. Whichever one is more your style. This one's a little bit more blocky, this one's a little bit more sharp. I'll be going for the sharper version as that looks much better in my taste. In my tastes. I will also be needing to grab a couple of these rounded 2x4s down here. Like this, since we need to attach this aileron. Grab this block right here, a 1x4, and slide it right there. We also want to reduce the amount of drag that is on these wings and such. And this thing. To reduce the amount of friction force that we have with the water. Which will hopefully help us gain a little bit more speed. Okay, I think I could keep that there. I think that was fine. I also think I need a 1, 2, 3. This is... oh, that's small. I will also get one of these. Yeah, I think this will be fine. I'll put one of those right there. It looks like a plane than a submarine, but whatever. Whatever works, right? As long as it works, it's good. If it's ugly, whatever. If it looks good, cool. It really doesn't matter if it looks like a submarine or not, as long as it works. That's what I will say. For you guys. Rounded piece right here. To disguise the engine bay. Then we'll also add a bit more of these engines back here, now that we can actually see what we need. Now another thing back here is a bunch of empty space. We can use our inverted 2x4 corner, or we can get, if you have the DLC, you can also use a mech cheek. I personally like the mech cheek because it looks pretty nice here, and it covers up any weird spaces. But we can also go ahead and try to find another piece, like one of these. Oops, that's too large. Can't tell any of these sizes. You can try to get one of these. These will look a lot nicer, but they aren't currently able to fit. Because there's no attachment points right now. So the mech cheek it is. Now we'll need to figure out whether this is capable of floating or not. And so we will increase the buoyancy. Like right here, we would need to add much more buoyancy. Currently needing a medium pontoon. Or a dinghy side block if you would like that instead. Whichever one looks better, in your opinion. Honestly, I like the medium pontoon better. It's a little bit more slim. So now, we got a boat thingy. It works, and it's fast. Now, we'll remove the pontoons, like this. And it'll be able to swim around, or drive around in the water with minimal problems. It's a nice little submarine, that will hopefully not cause you any problems. It's an agile submarine, and it is very balanced. You just fly it around like a plane, and that's about it. If you want to use gyros, this will be exactly the same, just it will have a stronger effect for when you're boating around. Like, the up and down will have a much faster reaction time than whenever I'm clicking it as. And the roll will also have a higher effect. It is also pretty fast, and I don't think that the current... I'm gonna maneuver myself away from here. The waves are too big. It also seems to have no up or down, so it's pretty nice and even. So it's a nice little submarine. It's pretty easy to build, and you should have no problem using this whatsoever. If you want to attach weapons for this, you can switch out one of these side panels and place one of these, so you can attach weapons on there if you like. It won't cause extra drag since this hitbox is much larger or equal size to the other one. So there you go. A nice little submarine. Nice and beautiful just for you to use. I will do a paint job real quick, and I will show you how you can do a paint job right here, right now, on this submarine. Because, why not? Bonus. So, what you'll do is you'll grab the clean texture, if you have it. I think it's a default texture, I think. One of those. The clean texture brings you a nice clean look without sacrificing anything. You can grab whatever color you like. This is the main color, black, as you can see. So I will get a nice sky blue. Actually, turbo blue is much nicer. And then you can go to the secondary color, which is gray, and then change that to a darker or lighter color of your choosing. Like, for example, sky blue, which is a darker color. You can also choose to add decals in this next section right here. Like, for example, from the motor pack DLC, you can get the power core logo, which is pretty neat. Right here. You can also copy this to the other side, like this. It looks pretty nice. And so, this is it. A nice little plain submarine. Though, if you want to change some controls, you can. Just use the... you just click on it, click configure, and then change whatever controls. I'm not going to change the controls for mine, since I feel pretty content with my current design. I just have to now select it all, using the left click, hold, and select, or using controller, you just hold A and then drag with the joystick. So now you click save, and then let's call this basic plain type plain type submarine. I hope I spelled that right. The basic plain type submarine. You click save, and now you will know how to build basic submarines just like this. Thank you guys for watching. That is all for today's video. And I'll move out of the shadow for this. How about on land? Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below any suggestions for future videos. See you guys later. Go watch some more videos of mine. You'll see a bunch more tutorials just like this one. Goodbye.